Hello everyone. Let's look at shlokas 106 through 108 in Lalita Sahasranamam. mūlā dhārāmbujārūḍhā pañchavaktrā'sthi saṃsthitā aṅkuśādi praharaṇā varadādi niśhevitā mudgaudanā saktha chitthā sākinyambā svarūpiṇī āGnYā chakrābjanilayā śuklavarṇā śhaḍānanā majjā saṃsthā haṃsavatī mukhyaśakti samanvitā haridrānnaika rasikā hakinī rūpadhāriṇī. Before we take a look at the meanings of the namas in these shlokas, just as a recap, we are looking at the Devi in the chakras. There are 6 chakras in our body along the spine. There is a presiding deity for each chakra who resides in the center of that particular chakra. And in Sri Vidya tradition, each chakra is envisioned as a lotus. So the main deity is in the center of the lotus. The lotus has petals and each petal has one Shakti in that. And the number of petals in all the 6 chakras together add up to the number of vowels and consonants in the Sanskrit alphabet. So in Lalita Sahasranamam, all these chakra devis are presented to us in the order of the number of faces that they have. So today we are going to look at the chakra deities who have 5 and 6 faces. So let's take a look at the namas. mūlā dhārāmbujārūḍhā, mūlādhara ambuja arūḍhā. Mūlādhara is the name of the Mūladhara chakra. Ambujam means lotus. So this Mūladhara chakra is envisioned as a lotus. Arūḍhā means climbing upon or leaping upon. So basically mūlā dhārāmbujārūḍhā means on the Mūladhara chakra. Pañchavaktrā. Pancha means 5, vaktra means face. So pañchavaktra, one who has 5 faces. Asti saṃsthitā. Asti means bone. Saṃsthitā can be standing in or residing in or sitting in, all of those. So basically she is responsible for the dhatu, the body tissue called bone. So asti saṃsthitā means she is residing in the bones or she is responsible for the bones or presiding over the bones. aṅkuśādi praharaṇā. aṅkuśādi praharaṇā. Ankusham means the goad. All the elephant mahots also have one. So that's called as ankusham. Adi here means like or etc. Praharaṇā means weapon. So aṅkuśādi praharaṇā. She is holding goad and other weapons. Varadādi niśhevitā. So Varada is the name of the Shakti who is with this particular chakra deity. Adi means and, more, and like that. Niśhevitā. Niśhevitā means served by. So she is served by Varada and other Shaktis. Mudgaudanā saktha chitthā. Mudgaudanā means it is a dish that's made with rice and moong dal. Mudgau means moong dal, moong beans. So she is mudgaudanā, a dish that is made with rice and pulses, especially moong pulses. Saktha chitthā. Saktha means fond of. Chitthā means mind. So her mind is fond of a dish that is made out of moong and rice. So she is fond of any offering that contains rice and moong dal. Who is she? Sakinyambā svarūpiṇī. So she is Sakinyambā svarūpiṇī. Svarūpiṇī means in the form of. So she is in the form of Sakinyambā. So Sakinyambā is the presiding deity for the Mūladhara chakra, which is envisioned as a lotus. She has 5 faces. She is responsible for the bone. She carries a goad and several other weapons. She is served by Varada and other Shaktis, and she is fond of any offering that contains moong beans and rice. Let's look at the āGnYā chakra now. āGnYā chakrābjanilayā. So āGnYā chakra abjanilayā. āGnYā chakra is the āGnYā chakra which is in between the 2 eyebrows. Abjam again is lotus. Nilayā means stationed in or residing in. So in here you can say presiding over the āGnYā chakra. Śuklavarṇā. Śukla means white. Varnam means color. Śuklavarṇā means white color. That means she is fair complexioned. śhaḍānanā. Shad anana. Shad means 6. Anana means face. So presiding over the āGnYā chakra, she is fair complexioned and she has 6 faces. Majjā saṃsthā. So majjā means bone marrow. And saṃsthā again means seated or residing in. So she is presiding over the bone marrow. haṃsavatī mukhyaśakti samanvitā. So this āGnYā chakra has 2 petals. And in that, one of the petal, the Shakti who is residing in that petal is called as haṃsavatī. So haṃsavatī mukhyaśakti samanvitā. Mukhyaśakti means chief Shakti. So haṃsavatī is her primary Shakti. Samanvitā. Samanvitā means surrounded by or connected with. So she is associated with haṃsavatī, who is her primary Shakti. So I said āGnYā chakra has only 2 petals. So haṃsavatī is one and kshamati is another. So there are 2 Shaktis who are associated. Haridrānnaika rasikā. Haridrānam means yellow color rice. Annam is rice. Haridrānam means yellow color rice. So it could be rice cooked with turmeric, it could be rice cooked with saffron, or you can think of it as lemon rice, which is also yellow in color. So she is fond of any offering, any food that is cooked with turmeric or saffron. Rice cooked with turmeric and saffron. Rasikā. Rasikā means one who enjoys. So she enjoys. Haridrānnaika rasikā. She enjoys food cooked with turmeric or saffron. Hakinī rūpadhāriṇī. Hakinī is the name of the deity and rūpadhāriṇī. Rūpam means form. Dhāriṇī means bearing. So she is bearing the form of Hakinī. So Hakinī is the presiding deity of āGnYā chakra. She is fair complexioned. She has 6 faces. She is responsible for the bone marrow and she is surrounded by or she is associated with haṃsavatī, who is her primary Shakti, and she enjoys any offering that is made with turmeric or saffron. So we have covered the all the namas in here. So let's look at a small story related to mudgaudanā saktha chitthā. So one who is fond of any dish that is made with rice and moong dal. So as we all know, one of the most popular dish that is made with rice and moong dal is called as khichdi. And khichdi is all over India it's popular. If you see in Gujarat, khichdi is a very popular dish. They serve it for everything. You know, they say khichdi ki char yaar, ghee, papad, dahi or achar. So if you serve khichdi with a good amount of ghee, the papad, the curd and pickle, then that's supposed to be very yummy. And we all know in southern India, it is very popular as pongal. So that is something that is a favorite breakfast for many people. And it's also anything you cook with moong dal is supposed to be easy to digest. It is actually a very special type of dal. The dal is dry, but it is easy to digest. So it has some very unique properties that way. And then if you see in West Bengal, khichdi is very important. So for Durga Puja, it is a must. Everybody will be waiting for that. And this pongal or khichdi is not just something that's popular in India. It's also gone abroad, and it seems that when British came here, they ate that and they loved it. And they have now their own variety of khichdi where they add fish and everything. It's called kejri. And then if you see when the Mughals came, apparently Akbar, all Aurangzeb, everybody were so fond of this. Apparently Aurangzeb will eat anything that's made with moong dal. So the dal came to be known as Badshah ki pasand. So such is the fame of moong beans. And it's not just something that human beings like. This is something that Krishna loves. This is something that Shiva loves. In Shiva Puranam, they say that you should offer anything with pulses. And now we know that Lalita also likes it. We can say Sākinyambā, hakinī, kakini, but everything is nothing but emanation of Lalita. So she also likes it. And this particular dish, khichdi, also finds a mention in Mahabharata. So let's look at a story related to the khichdi in Mahabharata. So as we all know, the Pandavas and Kauravas played game of dice. The Kauravas invited the Pandavas. So the first game of dice turned out to be really ugly, with the Pandavas losing, and Yudhishthira went ahead and put all of his brothers as slaves. Finally, he also put Draupadi as a slave, and then Draupadi was really insulted in the court, and her own brother-in-laws from the Kaurava side were trying to disrobe her, etc. So it turned very ugly. Finally, Dhritarashtra intervened and said, you know what, this is not good. So this game is declared void. So Pandavas didn't lose anything. They can go ahead and have their place as it is in their prastham, and Kauravas keep what they have, the Hastinapur. So the game was declared void. Nobody was a slave for anybody. But with this, Duryodhana got very upset. He is always looking for some way to get rid of Pandavas. And it was a good chance, and because of all the ugliness, it got declared null. So he decided that he will call them for a game of dice one more time. Obviously, now everybody is so upset with all the ugliness last time. They're saying, no. But this time, Duryodhana says, no, we won't do anything bad. So the simple rule will be, if the Pandavas win, they will get the the Rajyam that they are looking for. But if they lose, they have to go for, they will be exiled, they will be banished. 12 years they have to live in the forest, and then 1 year they have to live incognito. If during that time they are found and you know that these are Pandavas, then they have to go for exile 12 more years, again 1 year of incognito. So they said that will be the rule. And we all know Dhritarashtra, even though he tries to be balanced, in at times, in general, he is someone who is very, very fond of his children. He himself was someone who had a grudge that, because of his the physical challenges and blindness, he was not given the throne. So he always sides with his children, and he always wants to believe that they'll be good. So he goes ahead and agrees to it. So now the Duryodhana again invites Yudhishthira for a game of dice. So apparently it is it's not a right behavior for a king to refuse any challenge that comes his way. So if enemy issues a challenge for a war, they have to go. They can't turn away. And a game of dice is treated like that. So Yudhishthira cannot say no when Duryodhana is inviting him. Of course, anybody else would have thought twice and said, after all the hangama, we don't want this anymore. But Yudhishthira accepted the challenge, and the Pandavas went and played with Kauravas, and as usual, promptly lost it. And now they were banished to the forest. So they all had to go. And Kunti is already very old. So they decided it will be too much for Kunti to go to the forest. So they left Kunti with Vidura in Vidura's house. And so the 5 Pandavas along with Draupadi decided to go to the forest. Now they are going in exile, and they're going to live in a forest that's close to where they are. One of Yudhishthira's concerns was, he is going to the forest, but lots of sages and everybody will come to the forest. And if the sages come, it is normal for kings to give them food. And now they themselves are banished. So he didn't know how he will be able to support anybody who comes to their house. How will he feed the guests? And we all know Duryodhana is waiting for a chance to torture these Pandavas. So he's not going to be someone who's going to send them to the forest with all the supplies, etc. He wants them to suffer. That's why he's sending them there. So Yudhishthira was very worried. If it's only for their family, The 5 brothers are very capable. They can go hunt and they can bring food and they can eat that. But if sages come, they don't eat non-veg. So therefore, they have to be able to give some provision. So he was thinking what to do. At that time, one of the priests in the Pandavas' side said, you know what, go pray to the sun god. If you see, sun is a giver. And it is because of the sun, the food chain itself starts. The plants are able to make their food, and then the other animals eat plants, and then the carnivores eat the herbivores, etc. So there is a whole cycle of food, or the food chain begins with the help of sun. And therefore he said, why don't you go pray to the sun? The sun is a giver and he'll definitely give you away. So Yudhishthira goes and prays to the sun god and says, please help me. Somehow I want to be able to feed my family as well as anybody who visits us. So give me something. So the sun is very pleased with Yudhishthira's prayer. And so the sun grants Yudhishthira a Akshaya Patra. Usually Akshaya Patra means something that keeps on giving. There is no limit to it. How much ever you want, it will give. But here, sun gives that Akshaya Patra with a condition. So that Akshaya Patra will give food in a given day, but the moment Draupadi eats the food, then the food for that day will be done. Then it will only give food the next day. So it's Akshaya Patra with a slightly modified conditions. So it's not like unlimited supply. There is a limited supply, and the limit for that supply is until Draupadi eats. Once Draupadi eats and she washes the dish, that's it. For the remainder of that day, it will not give any food. Only next day morning you can get the food. So he gave that, which was actually a very okay condition for Yudhishthira, because Draupadi will feed everybody and then only eat. That is the dharma of a lady of the house. So he was totally fine with it. So they took the Akshaya Patra and then they went to the forest. And so now Draupadi has only one dish, right? One patra. So now she has to make something only in that, and whatever she makes will become unlimited until she finishes eating. So she had to figure out a one-pot dish. So what did she do? Every single day she made khichdi. So she would put rice, the moong dal, and then whatever vegetables they can find, she will put those vegetables, and that's what she will make. Of course, khichdi has many preparations. Some people, like in South India, we only put pepper and other things. We don't put vegetables in that, whereas the khichdi in Gujarat will have vegetables. So there are different variations in that. And so she was making it every single day. She will make khichdi, some variation of the khichdi, but every day only khichdi. And that's what the Pandavas will eat. So this was going on. Life was cool. Everybody was happy. They were fed. If somebody came, they were able to give food. Everything worked out well. Duryodhana, even though he sent these Pandavas to the forest, he was not happy with them being in the forest. He made sure he had spies and he was watching what these guys were doing. So every day the spies will report, and then he found that this was their routine. Every day they eat the khichdi, and then when Draupadi eats, it's done for that day. So he knows what time they will wake up, what time they will eat, what time they will finish eating. All of that Duryodhana is very familiar with. So as they were in the forest, one day sage Durvasa visited Duryodhana. So he came to Duryodhana's palace. And as we all know, when the sages come to the palace, the kings receive them very well. And here, this is sage Durvasa. Sage Durvasa is very well known for his anger. So he has a tendency to become angry very quickly, and it's not just that he'll become angry, he will immediately hand down a curse. And because of sage Durvasa's power, whatever curse he gives will come true. So it is very important that people treat sage Durvasa very well, and nobody wants to mess with sage Durvasa because of his tendency to give curses. So when he came to the palace, Duryodhana made sure that every single need of sage Durvasa will be met. And even before he can think of it, Duryodhana had someone ready with it, and he himself personally attended to sage Durvasa. Seeing how Duryodhana treated him, sage Durvasa was very happy. So then sage Durvasa said, you know what, I had a very good stay in your palace. So I'm very pleased. Let me give you some boon. Ask me for whatever you want. Sage Durvasa is also known to give boons. If you all recall, he is the one who gave Kunti the boon, the mantra, to, she can look at any god and chant that mantra, and she'll get a kid with the qualities of that particular god. He was able to look at it early that she'll marry Pandu, who will not be able to have kids. So he is also known to give boons. So he said, I'll give you a boon. Now this Duryodhana is the kind who, even if he loses one eye, he wants others to lose two eyes. That is his character. So he could have asked for something good for himself, but what Duryodhana wanted was, and somehow he wanted to make sure that the Pandavas land in trouble with Sage Durvasa and get a curse. So then that way they can't even rise up again. Not just that they are in the forest, they will get this curse and they will suffer more. So he wanted to make sure they suffer more. So he, in very sweet tone, he went and told Sage Durvasa, no, I don't want anything for myself. Just that you came to our palace itself is good for me. But I want to make sure that my brothers also get the joy of receiving you and being able to serve you well. So I would like you to go visit my brothers in the forest and, enjoy their hospitality and bless them. Actually, what he wants is that he wants for the Pandavas to struggle and, be able to get the curse. But if he cannot tell like that, because Sage Durvasa is a Maharishi, he only thinks good for everybody. He may get angry, but he only thinks good for everybody. And besides, Kunti and Sage Durvasa, Sage Durvasa is very fond of Kunti because she served him very well. So he cannot say all these negative things to a Maharishi. So sugar-coated words, all to make sure that Pandavas will suffer. So Sage Durvasa, immediately hearing this, he said, oh, why not? I will go and visit the Pandavas in the forest, and I will make sure that they get my blessings as well. So he said, okay, let me go. Make preparations for me to go to Pandava's place. And Duryodhana now knows exactly what time these guys get up, what time they eat, when Draupadi eats, etc. So he wanted to make sure that Sage Durvasa will land in Pandava's place exactly after Draupadi eats, because after that there will be no food. And then Sage Durvasa will come, and if there is no food, Sage Durvasa is one who is hungry all the time. He is actually interestingly called Nitya Upavasi. It seems that every time he eats, he says Krishnarpanam. So whatever food he eats goes off to Krishna. So Sage Durvasa is always hungry. So you cannot not feed him. He needs to eat very frequently. That is the way he is. So he knows if Sage Durvasa already is prone to anger, and if he is hungry, then he will give a very strong curse. So that is the Duryodhana's plan. So immediately he delays it in such a way that he leaves at a time where he will be really hungry for lunch, but it will be after about 3 o'clock when Draupadi has finished eating. So he plans it in such a way, and he gets all the chariots, horses, etc. And Sage Durvasa actually had come to Duryodhana's palace with about 10,000 disciples. He has lots of disciples. So this is one big parivaram that's going there. And so he planned it in such a way that he finishes his breakfast, but is not time for lunch yet. But by the time he reaches there, it will be pretty late for lunch, and he'll be really hungry. So that's the plan. Now, the Pandavas had no clue who's going to come. So as usual, they did what they do. And then they all ate after Draupadi gave food to all of them. Draupadi had finished eating. And on that particular day, she hadn't yet washed the vessels. It was just there. She had finished eating. And now the entire army of disciples with Sage Durvasa, they all land here. Now, as soon as they have all landed, Yudhishthira is very pleased to see Sage Durvasa. He welcomes him. He falls at his feet and everything. And he says, please go take bath and come. You finish, they all do Sandhya Vandanam in the morning, afternoon and evening. It's called Madhyanikam. Go finish whatever you need to do and then come back for food. We'll be ready with your food. So Sage Durvasa and all his disciples went to the nearby river so that they can finish their duties, and they were going to come. And Yudhishthira, just like a perfect householder, just like that promise, get the food. And then he turned to Draupadi and said, Draupadi, get the food ready, 10,000 people, be ready. Now Draupadi is completely in panic because she's already finished eating. Now the food won't come in this Akshaya Patra. That is the primary condition. She doesn't know what to do. She tells Yudhishthira, food won't come. I've finished eating. Had I known he would come, then I would have stopped eating. But now I've finished eating, so nothing can be done. So now everybody is in panic. They don't know how to tell. Already he's also promised that he will get the food ready. So they don't know what to do. If they all, the people who went to take bath, if they come back, what to offer them. So they are all panicked. And Draupadi did what she normally does. Whenever she is in panic, immediately she thought of Krishna and she prayed to Krishna and said, Krishna, somehow please get us out of this trouble. It is embarrassing for a king to say that they don't have food to offer. And it's not even like he can go hunt and bring something, etc. It will take time. They're all hungry. And of course, they also don't eat non-veg. So they didn't know what to do. They were thinking about it. And at that time, Krishna appeared. And then Draupadi told Krishna about the situation and said, Krishna, I don't know what to do. Sage Durvasa is going to be very mad at us. Please somehow get us out of the situation. So Krishna listened to everything. And then he turned to Draupadi and said, yeah, definitely I'll help you. But now I'm hungry, Draupadi. Can you please give me something to eat? Now this is double embarrassment for Draupadi. Krishna has come to her house and there is no food anywhere. And this is it. She's finished eating. So she doesn't know what to do. And so she tells, Krishna, that is the problem that I'm telling you. It's not just that I can't feed 10,000 people. I can't feed even one person because all the food is done. I have finished eating, so the Akshaya Patra won't give any more food. Then Krishna said, that's okay. Go get the Patra. And then Draupadi said, there is nothing left in it. I just finished eating. I was about to wash the dishes. It is just there. He said, no, it's all right. Go bring that. When they looked at it, in the dish, and in the there was just one small one grain of rice left and one small piece of vegetable stuck to the pot. Draupadi hadn't yet washed the vessel. So Krishna picked that up and then he ate it. And then he said, oh, I'm feeling so full, all my hunger is gone. And Draupadi is like completely confused. She doesn't know what to make out of it. The feeling that all of the Pandavas and Draupadi have is the height of embarrassment. They never thought they will be in a situation where they cannot feed Krishna or they cannot feed the people who are coming to their house. So Krishna said, oh, I'm so full. And then he called Bhima and he said, go and ask them all to come for lunch. Now Draupadi is panicking and she's saying, Krishna, what to do? If they all come, what will I give them? Please tell me. He said, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Let him go and call them. So Bhima goes along with Sahadeva and then they go where all the disciples are taking bath. And he goes and calls them and says, food is ready, please come. And then all these disciples and Sage Durvasa are all each looking at each other. They don't know what to say, but then they tell Bhima, you go, we will come back, we'll come. And then Bhima says, no, Draupadi asked you to come. And he said, yeah, you go, we'll follow you. And then they all went. And what had happened at the time that Krishna ate that one grain of rice with vegetable and he felt full, everybody, including Sage Durvasa, all felt full immediately. They were taking bath in the river and suddenly they were all feeling so full that they didn't think they will be able to eat even one mouth of food. They cannot take any more. They felt like they were up to the brim with that food. So they didn't know why they felt so full. But they were also very worried that they went to Yudhishthira and said, prepare food. And she would have prepared food for 10,000 people. And it is not okay when somebody is offering that food. It is like insulting Yudhishthira to make them prepare the food and then not eat it. So they were all very worried what to do. And then when Bhima came, they didn't know what to say. So they all said, okay, you go, we'll come. But then they were so full and they all went to Sage Durvasa and they said, no, we can't eat anymore. We are so full. But we don't want to face the wrath of Yudhishthira by telling him we are not coming to their house. So let's all leave like this itself. Let's not go to their house. We don't want to be, facing their anger. So Sage Durvasa and all his disciples, as soon as they took bath, they just went along their way. They did not even come to Yudhishthira or Pandava's house. And the Pandavas then realized what Krishna had done for them, and then they were all relieved that they didn't have to feed those Brahmins and that night when they didn't have food. So that's how Krishna came to save Draupadi and the Pandavas from the situation that had developed. And a few things in this. One is when God eats, God is the essence in everything. So when God eats and God feels full, then everybody is full. So you can see how that happened. So God is the essence in everything. That is one thing from the story. The other thing is God is always there to help. When situations go beyond our control, when we have done everything that we can do, but beyond that situation goes beyond our control, then when you reach out to God, God always comes to help. So in here you can see that magically food didn't appear, right? But the situation was still avoided, and that's how God helps. So when we do what we are supposed to do, we stick to all our dharmas, we put the effort for whatever we want to achieve. When we do all of that right, God will be there and will ensure that we get the good results, we don't get into any distress. So that is something that is revealed through this particular story. That's all for today. Thank you, everyone.